All right, let's discuss effective language learning. Let's break the process of language learning down and take a look at the most effective way to get each one of the parts done well in the least amount of time possible. Right? Language learning is relatively simple. There are three things you need to know in order to understand the language well and to be able to speak it fluently. You need to know words first, a lot of words. Unless you know a lot of vocabulary, you will not understand anything, and of course, you won't be able to say anything. Now, once you know a lot of words, then you need to understand how grammar works. Ideally, you'll understand it really well, but with a basic understanding, you'll be able to understand the language and at least communicate what you're trying to say. But again, the more you practice, the better you'll get at it. We'll get there later. And the third thing is pronunciation. And if you're one of those idiots who think pronunciation doesn't matter, you should leave the video right now. Pronunciation is extremely important because if your pronunciation is bad, they will not understand you. But not only that, if you don't understand the language's pronunciation, you will also struggle to listen and understand. So let's break it down. Um, you need to know enough words. You need to know how to form sentences the right way, and you need to know what sounds each letter makes and each combination of letters make, and how to so that you understand native speakers and they understand you when you speak. Ideally, you should sound as close as possible to them. That's correct pronunciation. So, first, vocabulary. There's no way around it. You need to learn a lot of vocabulary. And the best way to do this is first learning the most common words. The famous 80-20 rule. You memorize a lot of the most common words and you'll understand I don't know how many percent of the language. Yes and no. So that's a good start, but doesn't mean you will understand most of the language. If you learn the most common 100, 500, 1,000 words, you will understand a lot of the words. You will know a lot of the words of the sentences that you read or listen to. But if there are nouns there that you don't know, then you will not understand the sentence. So it's very context specific. You need to know the general most common words of the language, but also most of the important words of that specific context, right? If you've never read anything or talked about anything on that specific subject, there will be a lot of words there that you don't understand, so that you've never heard before, and you will not understand the speech. So you need to learn a lot of vocabulary. Best way to do it is massive input, comprehensible input, but for the input to be comprehensible, you need to already know some vocabulary. So just learn vocabulary through memorization techniques. Association is the best one. You associate words with the meaning. Don't do 5 or 10 words a day like some people do and then hope to become fluent someday. No, you have to do the associations with hundreds of words a day if you want to improve fast. The thing is, this can be trained. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Set a timer and associate as many words as you can with the meaning. And eventually you'll forget them. This stores them in your short-term memory. Competitive memorizers use these techniques. They memorize long lists of numbers and things like that, or random words, long list of words. And that's the thing. A language is not a random list of numbers or words. A language has a logic behind it. So once you've memorized enough vocabulary, and then if you get the massive amounts of inputs, reading and listening, you will keep seeing this vocabulary in context. That means you're reviewing it. That means you will not forget it. So ideally, the best way to improve comprehension quickly is memorize a lot of vocabulary with associations and massive input. So you should be associating like 50, 100, maybe 200 or 300 words a day with these techniques, and getting a lot of reading and listening practice. Read a few articles a day, use bilingual text at first, uh, and then listening to podcasts every single day. Yeah. If you don't do any listening, you will not understand when native speakers speak to you, and your speech will also be very awkward. You need to do a lot of listening as well. Reading's more Reading is more effective to learn grammar and vocabulary. Listening will help you understand better and speak better. So you need to combine associations, reading, and listening every day. That's for comprehension. If you do enough of that, you'll understand the language well. And if you do several hours of it every day, you can get there in a month or two. It's just a matter of discipline and working hard and consistency. And then we come to speaking. So for speaking, there are three main things you need to do, apart from, again, massive amounts of inputs, memorizing vocabulary. If you don't have enough vocabulary, you will not speak well. That it's as simple as that. And if you don't, even if you memorize, for some reason, you manage to memorize thousands of words, let's say you're memorizing machine and you can, some people are like that. If you, even if you've got the vocabulary, if you don't get enough inputs, again, you will use the wrong grammar all the time. Doesn't mean you have to study grammar. Don't study grammar. You learn the grammar by reading and listening. In context, after a few hundred hours of reading and listening, you will learn to use, you will easily understand the grammar, like in context, and you will learn to use it correctly just by being exposed to it and seeing it in context. But for speaking first, you need a lot of input, get, get exposed to the language a lot. And then you need to work on your fluency, your precision, and your pronunciation. Good news is that you don't need a tutor, you don't need a speaking partner, you don't need immersion, any of that crap. Look, speaking is a skill that you can train on your own. You can do drills every single day. Same way as a musician who practices at home, you can do it exactly the same way. So you can do listening and repeating drills. You should do them, thousands of them. Take a list of sentences with translation. So that you've got the meaning, you've got the sentence written down, and you've got the audio. And you listen and repeat to hundreds of them a day. Once you get to 20, 30,000 repetitions, your fluency, your accuracy, and your pronunciation will be good because A, you've developed muscle memory. You've said so much stuff in the language. Look, 1 hour of listening and repeating means repeating around 1,000 sentences. Maybe it's slightly below 1,000, but 800, 900 sentences allowed. That's more than you will say in a whole school year if you go into language classes, because you don't get to say that much in classes. You mostly listen, do exercises, and then you've got like a 5 minute. They leave you with your partner where you try to bumble with each other and try to say something, and it doesn't really happen much. So you just like struggle to say anything for the most part. So listening and repeating, it's as dry and boring and repetitive as it sounds, and it is. It's super effective. Do this daily, few hundred sentences. Your fluency will get way better. Your accuracy will also get way better because you're getting used to repeating sentences aloud all the time that are grammatically correct. So then it's much more likely that you will also use sentences that are grammatically correct when you speak. And also, if you're using the same sentences over and over again, let's say you've got a database of 3,000 sentences that you repeat aloud, and you do 30,000 reps in total. That means you repeated each sentence 10 times in total over a month. Yeah, 1,000 reps a day, 30,000 reps in a month, 3,000 sentences repeated 10 times each. Not 10 reps with one sentence, 10 reps with the no. You repeat the whole list aloud once and then again and then again. That's spaced repetition. So by the end of it, after listening, repeating the same sentence 5 times, you will already start noticing a lot of little details about pronunciation, and you will start imitating them. And then by the time you've done it 10 times, your pronunciation will have gotten way, way better. It's as simple as that. A lot of small details combined make good pronunciation. You have to pay attention to details and repeat the same sentences over and over again. Shadowing, it's kind of the same thing, but this, instead of listening and repeating, you repeat along with it. Basically, it's like singing a song. Let's say you listen to a podcast and you repeating aloud everything they say. It's difficult because you have to process the information, understand the language, and then repeat basically simultaneously before they say the next sentence. So this is more advanced than listening and repeating, but it's very good for, again, for fluency and accuracy as well. You can do this while doing the listening. Do this in the later stages. Once you understand well and you've been doing the listening and repeating for a while and you can say some stuff, this will help you get much more fluent. And then we've got language islands, which you should be familiar with if you've been following my videos. It's basically a list of situations and conversation topics specifically for you. So you prepare your own, you translate everything into the language, and you memorize all those sentences. You can do this in the first week of language learning. Around 1,000 sentences for specific situations and conversations that you usually have, and you memorize them and you practice saying them. And this will make you speak. This will dramatically increase the amount of stuff you can say in a short amount of time because you've learned all the relevant sentences that you will use in those specific scenarios. You just do this, you'll be able to say some stuff and have some conversation from zero to conversational in a week. But if you don't combine it with everything else, that's where it all ends, right? You will not understand that much what they saying back. If they go off script, then you kind of screwed. So you should combine this with the lots and lots of practice of listening and repeating, with massive amounts of input and everything else. But yeah, this will help you get really good at all your usual conversations. And then the last part would be perfecting your skills. This would be learning to write. If you learn a language with a different writing system, learning to write well, even if it's got same alphabets, getting rid of grammar mistakes, getting rid of spelling mistakes, and so on. Basically, it's a lot of writing, this exercise. It's only worth it if you want to get really, really, really good at the language. If you just want to get conversational, this part you can skip it. It's a lot of work, and if you just want to learn languages to be conversational, you might as well skip this and repeat the whole process again with another language. But if you want to do this, you should do these two techniques. Scriptorial techniques, basically taking a text, copying it with pen and paper, and you repeat all the words aloud while you write them. Really old school, but it's very effective for you to memorize sentences, to learn the right spelling, the right grammar, vocabulary, and so on. And then a more advanced version would be take a bilingual text or create your own bilingual text using of translating software, and translating from your language into the target language, again with pen and paper or in a Word document. You translate without cheating, without looking at the original in the target language, and then you compare and correct all your mistakes, and there'll be plenty at first. If you keep doing it, you will identify all your mistakes and you will correct them. And if you keep doing this exercise over and over again, your writing will get really good. And that means your thinking and your speaking in the language will get really good because you'll find and fix most, if not all, of your mistakes if you do this enough. And that would be it. Summarize would be learn a lot of vocabulary with associations, with lots of reading and listening, use language islands, lots of listening and repeating drills, and some shadowing for speaking. And then finally, once you speak well and you understand well, perfect your skills with lots of writing using the scriptorial and the translation techniques. If you thought all this was useful and you want to give it a try, my course will teach you how to do all of this in detail, lots and lots of examples and tutorials on how to do each one of these exercises. It's $99 a month, so it's not that expensive if you want to give it a try. Links in the description. Thanks for watching.